Hello and welcome to Reflections. I'm your girl Nadine Edwards. Thank you for joining. I hope as you listen today, you'll be inspired, uplifted, motivated in your continued pursuit of becoming a better version of yourself. In today's episode of Reflections, I have another guest with me. He is originally from Jamaica, like myself. His name is Gersham Green. He has been living here in Germany for the past 3.5 years and is currently working in risk management. That is not the ultimate destination, though, because Gersham dreamed of becoming a lawyer, a corporate lawyer to be specific. And today I'm happy that he took the time to share how he got started and what his journey has been like as he pursued this dream of becoming a lawyer. Welcome, Gersham, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I hope as you share your story today, someone listening or a few persons listening will pull something from your journey that can give them that extra push as they too continue their journey in fulfilling their dreams.
Yes, thanks for having me, Nadine. It's interesting what you said, but I think that we're all here on this earth to share our experiences, and hopefully, based on our experience, someone may find some inspiration in helping them to get over the line. Because sometimes that's all we need, just to hear a story which is similar to ours, to get over the line.
Right. You had your beginnings in what they call the garrison, and most times people think that when you come from the garrison, nothing much comes out of the garrison or whatever the case may be. Tell us what life was like in Jamaica growing up and how you got started in this dream of becoming a lawyer.
So, growing up as a poor child from a poor family, from Kingston 5, the garrison as they call it, many a times people wonder how they can actually, or children, wonder, oh, what will I become? Because, the thought is you're from the garrison and therefore there's only one path. Right. But then my mom, who is an educator by profession, she always instilled in myself and my sister that education is the way to actually move forward. Yeah. Went to St. George's College, did CXCs, then went to UTech. And I think it was...
UTech, for those of you who don't know, is University of Technology, one of those renowned universities in Jamaica.
Yes, University of Technology, my apologies. But yeah, I went to UTech. And I think that's when everything started to unravel. At first, I wanted to become an architect. And so, I really was on that path. But being young at the time, going to university quite young, really didn't study for CXCs, got the CXCs. And, going to university, I still didn't have that level of maturity. And so after the first year, I was discontinued. For those who may not know, is a situation where once you fail 3 subjects, you're discontinued. So I was discontinued. Not many persons know. This is the first I'm actually sharing this publicly.
What was your major distraction, though?
It was just leaving high school and, going in the party life and teenage life, partying, the females. So, yeah, there are lots of distractions, of course. And there was just really not the focus. But I think that was a changing point because having been discontinued, I had to go get a job. My mom said, look, you have to go get a job and really fend for yourself, as they say in Jamaica. So I got a job with an insurance company. And from there, I guess I impressed a few colleagues. And so one had a mom working in another insurance company, and she referred me to this job, better job. I went to another insurance company, and then immediately went back to UTech to study part-time. And this job actually exposed me to the work that lawyers did. And that's where I think, the interest grew. I saw how much these lawyers were paid, I saw the
You're
work
driven
that
by the money.
yes, the work that they did. Really, I recognize it was very interesting because it's creating solutions. And so I started to think, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. But everyone says, oh, there's just a dream, but you have to move towards that dream. And I remember one day in New Kingston, I saw a friend who went to St. George's with me. He had gone to the UK and studied law. He was back in Jamaica. And we were just having a chat. And he said, he's in the UK, he studied law. And really, that conversation, it was the turning point, because I said, I actually want to study law. And he's like, really? Gave me the details for his university, gave me some hints of, getting to the UK, etc. I applied, got through, but then still there was something holding me back to Jamaica, And I'll never forget this conversation my mom had with me. And she said, because I got in
What was holding about that fear factor?
Several factors, Nadine, and this is a critical part of the story. Going to somewhere new, that was one thing, Being away from family and friends, that was another thing. Right. Not knowing whether or not I would succeed or excel, because this now, growing up in Jamaica all your life, and then now having to go all the way to the United Kingdom on your own. And my mom said to me, look, you have this dream and you're wasting your time. Stop procrastinating. There will be challenges, but you have to start. Once you start and you give it your all, whatever comes next, then, and of course, being a Christian from a Christian home, of course, we prayed and I stopped the procrastinating. And 2012 was when I was accepted, but I deferred until 2013. And 2013, I left Jamaica, landed in the UK.
Right.
And this is where the challenge began. I got to the United Kingdom, and basically it was just being on my own, leaving the beautiful blue skies of Jamaica, sunshine, warm temperature, lovely beaches, to the dark, gray, cold UK. It was quite a transition, and it really took a lot to get settled. But thankfully, some of my friends from UTech who were living in the United Kingdom, they embraced me, they helped me to get settled. And so there was that community. No.
Right.
Yeah.
How long did it take you before you connected with them?
It wasn't long, to be honest, because some knew that I was actually going to, be in the UK. And then, one person connects you with another person, and then soon it's that community. So that really helped to get settled. But then came the challenges, and I can name a few. Being a Black man, regardless of what anyone says and how open-minded people say societies are. Right. Being a Black man in a white-dominated country. Right. In London, I studied in London, and look, London is a very multicultural society.
Right, it's diverse.
A city, diverse. Yes. However, from the outside, it appears very diverse. When you live there, that's especially as someone from the minority, right, that's when you recognize the serious challenges. But anyways, took them head on, started to study my law degree. It was 3 years. And I recall my thesis supervisor, coming towards the end of my program, she said to me, Gersham, there's something about you, and I think that you shouldn't stop here, because the plan was just to go study the degree, go back to Jamaica. She said, no, really, there is a master program, which to become a lawyer here in London or in the UK, you have to do. I would suggest you do it. She gave me information. She prompted me along this path. helped me to gain financing, of course, other financing by my family, and started that program. The most difficult thing, however, was not being able to get a job in the
After you
UK.
completed the first degree.
Yeah. So they say law is for rich white old men. That's typically what you hear, and none of those, embodied me. I mean, poor black young man from Jamaica.
Right. And
You know,
females don't count either, because if it's rich, white, old men, then women don't count either.
well, I tell you,
Lawyers.
there's a lot of debate regarding the whole legal profession, but we could speak about that for hours. But I think the essence of it is the challenges faced. I mean, being thousands of miles away on those cold winter days, it took a lot of mental strength and fortitude. And the biggest takeaway from the UK was the mental strength that I gained. I recognized how strong I was mentally, because I didn't know I could actually survive.
What were some of the greatest challenges you endured and overcame apart from the weather?
Well, I tell you, London is very expensive. So it's being able to really survive. And there are a few friends that I have to mention, Gaina and Tian. Sometimes when I reflect, just recently, Gaina and I were laughing, and she said to me, many people will see you and they would not know the story. They would know some of the times when you were hungry, and it's your friends who actually had to help. Going through those depressing times when I tell you, you look outside and it's gray and it's cold, and even though you have a few friends around, in Jamaica, you have your neighbor to the left, you have your neighbor to the right, and you knew everyone.
Right.
You're on a building in London, and you don't know many of your neighbors. And so you're just in that little box by yourself. So it was depressing at times. However, we thank God that I survived, and it made me a stronger person. But that's not the interesting bit. With all those challenges, the greatest of that challenge, the London phase, was trying to get a job. Because, you're there as a student, and if you don't get a job, then you'll have to leave.
I had the same experience while studying in California back in.
Yeah. So it was there came the hustle and the motion to try and get a job so that you can stay there. And I tell you, when they say discrimination is real, that's when it manifested itself, because myself and all my friends who were from Africa, we didn't get a job. And just about that time, Nadine, my aunt died. So my permit would have expired months away when my aunt died. And
the permit would have expired months after her death or before?
Yes, months after her death. But I decided, you know what? I'm gonna head back to Jamaica and see what can happen. Deal with the death. So I went back to Jamaica. We dealt with the death, and I was trying to make some connections. Being away for a while, you lost
connection.
You lost some of those.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yep. And of course, it's a totally different type of law, totally different legal system. So didn't get much headway there. And a call from a friend who lives in Germany, she said to me, how are you doing? I had met her when I was in London, and she's like, how are you doing, Gersham? And I was like, oh, bad, depressed, wanting to move on with my life. And she said, why not try Germany? And my first thing to her, Nadine, was, are you mad? And she's like, no, Gersham, seriously, why not try Germany? And I was like, nah. And I continued, trying to get a job in Jamaica. And you know what? My mom said to me, you're not getting that job that you want in Jamaica. You're frustrating yourself. You obviously are getting depressed, why not try that German opportunity?
Before we get to that point, when you completed your studies in the UK, went back to Jamaica, nothing was happening. Did you still feel at this point that this was the path for you? Do you still feel like this was your passion and this is the road you needed to take as it pertains to law?
Oh yes, Nadine. I mean, because I would have had to start over from scratch in Jamaica, basically. So I'd have to go to Norman Manley Law School and basically start over. Because I did check that out. That's the extent of which I was passionate about my dream.
Okay.
But I would have to start over from scratch, and mentally I wasn't prepared. Financially I wasn't prepared. Emotionally I wasn't prepared to start from scratch. And so I took up this suggestion and researched it, and I said, you know what, let's try this option. And believe me, again, with prayers, with support, financial, emotional, every support that my mom could give.
I noticed that you about your mom. Your father is not in the picture any at all.
So, I mean, look, my father, he and I had a very interesting relationship. Unfortunately, he died in 2020. He died on Christmas Day 2020. So, Christmas is not a good time for me.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah. But we didn't have a very close relationship until closer to when he died. But one of my best friends is my mom. So yeah, you hear me mention my mom, she's not just a mom, she's a best friend, she's a counselor, she's a guide, she's a spiritual advisor, she's
everything that you need to be to get through life, right?
Yes.
Okay, so going to Germany became an idea now. So
yep.
What was the plan? What were you going to Germany to do?
So come to Germany and complete a master program, which would enable me now to really integrate and to be able to do what I wanted to do. That's the final piece of the puzzle for the dream. Or so I thought. Came to Germany, got accepted to 3 universities, decided on one, studied a master in European law.
Okay.
And
of course, it was in English because,
yes,
German is
yes. Of course, I mean, German is perhaps the most difficult language that you can learn.
I can attest to that.
However, the good thing is the program was offered in English. That's where another set of challenges began, because let me just give an insight into some of the challenges. Because oftentimes we tell stories and we don't give the full picture.
Right.
So coming to Germany, at that time I was what you'd consider a matured student, yeah? And everyone around me was pretty much like 21, 22, 23. So being a matured student, that created a challenge because, when they found out my age, I mean, I didn't have those friends to hang out with, and then there was also that issue of race. Let me be clear. I won't say many persons in Germany are like that.
Right.
But you do have some where race is an issue. And so those two factors really went against me. The mental strength that I gained from the UK experience, I think that was what helped me.
Right. You hit a very important point, because a lot of people go through stuff and they don't recognize that whatever adversity we go through, it is just preparing us for the next level.
Yes.
Because there was a next level coming up for you, I'm sure.
Yes.
Whatever you're going through right now, and you see it as something overwhelming, and you're asking the question, why am I going through this? It's just preparing you for the next level. That's all. Take it with a positive attitude and just ride out your storm, they say. Ride out your storm, because it will get better.
As they say in Jamaica, it's a bump in the journey, because, being in a strange country where English is not the mother language, not having people be friends with you because of whether your race or your age, and
Right.
alienating you. I mean, it was tough times, Nadine. It really was tough times. And I didn't have the UTech community to rely on.
I
And
can
so
imagine. What took you through is the support of your mother, of course, but physically on the grounds now, what kept you sane or what brought you through this leg?
the simple answer to that is God. God and the prayers of persons close to me, especially my mom, because without that, Nadine, it wouldn't have been possible, believe me. And luckily, I completed the master program and trying to get a job, the struggle. I went to a law firm. I can't say the name, obviously, but I remember going to an interview. When they saw my CV, of course, they're like, yes, of course. Fantastic CV, very qualified. Essentially, you need to come and prove to us why we should hire you and how is it that you're so qualified and why we should hire you. World law firm. I mean, I still have that email, and that was the worst interview of my life. I'll never forget that interview. There were two partners who were supposed to interview me, and I don't know if it was a tactical decision, but at the last minute, one decided that he wasn't gonna come in the room, and we sat at this big conference room. He was across from me. The one who interviewed me was across from me, and it was like a boxing match. So why are you so qualified? Why and why and why? And believe me, it was like a boxing match.
You must have felt tired when I came out of that room.
No, I tell you, I felt exhausted. I was very drained when
I can imagine.
that interview was done. But you know what? I didn't get the job, but that prepared me for what was to come.
Absolutely.
Because I recognized that, look, even though you have the qualifications, it's getting over the line. And I remember, just a side note, when I stepped in the office, in the lobby, a black man in a suit, you could see the eyes, you could see the stares, because this is a top tier law firm, and I don't know what thoughts went through their minds, the receptionist. But when I left, I said to myself, do you know what? I have come too far to give up now. And I was more...
Is it determined or
determined?
adamant?
I was more determined to actually, get over the line, and kept on applying, maybe hundreds of applications. And I'll never forget, again, I was almost ready to give up, because I said to myself, you know what? I can't be sending out so many applications and you go to these interviews and you're not getting over the line. And I was almost ready to give up, Nadine, and go back home, as it were.
Can I say something right there?
Yeah.
Because there were times in my life when I felt like I never had a place. And I asked God the question, where's my place? Here. Because God expects us to bloom where we are planted. And if God allows us to be in a specific location at a specific time, there has to be a purpose. And one of the texts that carry me through, Psalm 24, verse 1. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The world and they that dwell therein. So with that psalm in my mind, I always says, God, you control all things, all humanity. So even though you couldn't see it, there was a plan.
I mean, I tell you, there was a plan. My current job, I applied, and I tend to get emotional when I think about it, because applied, went through 3 rounds of interviews, and the last round of interviews was with my current boss, because he's at a very senior level. And he said to me, never forget this question. I know a few lawyers, I know a few people who have studied law, and though this job involves a little bit of legal stuff, this is not your typical lawyer job in the city, in the big office. Why should we hire you? And of course, I gave him the politically correct. Oh, of course, I I want to gain experience. And he said to me, no. Okay, I've been around too long to know that someone as qualified as yourself would not typically go for this job. I mean, it's a good job, but you would want to that fancy, lawyer job in the city. And I said to him, I really would not want to get into these topics in an interview. However, as a person from a minority group here in Germany, it has been extremely challenging to get a job. And for different reasons, you're told you're not as versed in the language. That's one reason, or some of the reasons that I was given. Right. Or you're told that you don't have any German experience. So I said to him, look, I have to be pragmatic. I need to get some experience under my belt. And of course, I need to earn an income.
Right.
And he said, well, that's the answer I was looking for, because I didn't want the politically correct answer. I wanted a real answer, because I've been around too long enough. I know that, someone qualified as yourself would not normally take this job. And so my decision would have been based on the answer you gave. And I was offered a job, got the job. After the formalities were done, he said, I know you're not going to actually stay in this role. We have a legal department here at the company, and hopefully we can help you to transition into the legal department, because you're a future star. I already see it. And
I believe that was God working for you right there. And let me tell you why I say that. You gave the wrong answer from the get-go. And if God was not in the mix of things, this guy would have said, okay, next applicant. Yes. It was God coaching you, and it was God working things out. And listen to the very words that he said to you. I know that you're not going to stay. However, this is just a starting point.
Like I said, Nadine, just being able as a Black Jamaican man to have a job at my current company.
How long have you been there?
I've been there just about a year now.
Okay.
Yeah, just about a year now. It speaks volumes for where I'm coming from. When I reflect, a boy from Kingston 5 who, under normal circumstances, would have taken up the gun, would have probably not passed 20. Yeah, because that's the stereotype, that you come from the garrison, you're not supposed to go anywhere. Yeah?
Profound point right there. It doesn't matter where you come from. You can be whoever you want to be. It all depends on your mindset.
Yep.
And the kind of people you entertain around you. You have to find people who are of the same ambitious mind to exchange energy and ideas and press forward to who you desire to become.
Yep. So like I said, being that boy born and raised from a poor family, going through all this educational system, and being now in Germany in a very large company working,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and I really thank God for what he has done for me, and I look forward to what plans he has for me, because I know it's not stopping there, Nadine. But I just want to encourage persons. You have a dream, you stick to it.
Because you're still on the journey. You're still on the journey.
Yes.
You completed the master's after 1 year, because I got that information off air.
Yeah.
So you're still on the journey. You're working in risk management now at this particular company. So what's the next step?
So the next step is really to work as a lawyer, and that is the ultimate goal. That's where the dream will end. Hopefully, I am able to transition into the legal department in my current company.
But do you need to do the bar exam in order to practice law, or the master's degree that you have is sufficient?
So it's an interesting question, because here in Germany, to be considered a lawyer, a fully qualified lawyer, you'd have to take the stat exams. They call them stat exams, first and second stat exams. That's up for consideration. Or alternatively, I'm thinking of taking the New York State Bar exam, because it's interesting that even though the US is all the way across there, if you take the, New York or California, whichever bar exam there, then there's this transition which can be done.
For those who do the first degree, can they opt to go right into the bar exam and then practice law, or everybody has to go to the master's level before they can do the bar exam?
It depends, Nadine, on as they say in law, which jurisdiction you're gonna practice. Yeah. So the law degree, which is the LLB,
right,
that by itself cannot allow you to be a lawyer. You typically have to do some postgraduate studies, in order to actually transition into that legal realm. And postgraduate studies can include a master, the LLM that I pursued, and also some bar or stat exam that you take. But as I mentioned, it depends on which jurisdiction you plan to operate in. Yeah. My suggestion to people listening, whilst I know that there's a huge debate. Not everyone believes in God. Not everyone is a Christian. And I can't say to individuals that you should. Yeah. But for those who are Christians and those who believe in God, the supreme being, I can tell you, when you are doubtful, when you are faced with those difficult moments, challenge God.
Challenge God. Because like you did, I did the same. And when you're at the moment you feel like you're gonna give up and you can't go any further, He shows up through even strangers, people you don't know. That's how God operates. If God used a raven to feed Elijah, He will send even an angel to help you.
Believe me, throughout my journey, Nadine, I must say right now, there are many persons, there are many angels that have come in support of me. There are too many to name, but if they're listening out there, yourselves. And I've personally told you many thanks, many times. Thank you, a big thank you to each and every person that has supported me throughout this journey, supported me along this dream. Big up, as we say in Jamaica, big up every time.
Big up. Yep. And that phone call that you got from that German lady was that open door for you. So you were destined to be here in Germany. Just like I believe I was destined to be here in Germany. And the journey continues.
The journey continues.
I believe one day you will accomplish that status of being a lawyer, a corporate lawyer, right?
Nadine, I have no doubt. I'm a determined person, and I continue to challenge God to get me over the line. Yeah.
And you will. He will get you over the line. I really want to thank you for taking the time to share with us today your story. It's very important, it's relevant, and so I believe something from your story gave somebody that extra push today, that extra push to keep pressing on and to challenge God. They may not be a believer, but prayer works. I enjoyed listening to your story, and it has brought some inspiration to me as well.
Well, thanks for having me, Nadine, and always a pleasure to share and hopefully to be able to inspire others. Never give up on your dream and challenge God.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to today's reflection. Join me again next week for another episode. Until then, stay blessed.